How's it going, gang? We're back with the midpoint slope formula, video number 4 for section 1-1. Again, more review, which is all right. You know what you're doing. So the midpoint and the slope, what I want you to think about as far as the midpoint go is it's like the average location. All right, you have something over here and something over here. The midpoint is the average of those two spots right here in the middle. How do you find the average of two numbers? You add them and divide by 2. So the midpoint formula is add your x's, divide by 2, add your y's, divide by 2. And the midpoint, keep that in mind, does end in the term point, which means your answer is a coordinate, not a length. Don't forget that. Now the slope. Slope, you've heard many things to describe slope in the last several years. Rise over run, change in y over change in x, or delta y over delta x. That about sums it up. Find the difference in y's and the difference in x's, and it's sometimes a whole number, but usually a fraction. The only thing I want you to keep in mind is notice the 2's and the 1's. You got to keep those coordinates the same. All right, so whatever you decide is your second number, your second coordinate, when you're doing the numerator, you have to use that same pairing for the denominator. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a sign, S-I-G-N, that's wrong from what the actual slope is. All right, well, let's try. How many should we try? We should try 2. We're going to try 2. Negative 3/8, 6/2. First find the midpoint, then find the slope. Okay, for finding the midpoint, we add the x's, divide by 2, add the y's, divide by 2. Negative 3 plus 6 over 2, 8 plus 2 over 2, and that gives us 3/2 and 5. That's the midpoint, a coordinate. Slope is just a number. I apologize, I lied. We're only doing one example. So now let's work on the slope. Okay, the difference in y over the difference in x. Generally, I like to try to keep my first numbers positive. So I'm looking at these two y's and I'm saying if I take 2 minus 8, that's going to be a negative. I don't want to do that. So I don't. So I take 8 minus 2. May end up being negative anyways, but so that's what I'm going to do, take 8 minus 2. And if I take 8 minus 2, in other words, if this is my first number in the numerator, this has to be my first number in the denominator. 8 minus 2 is 6. Negative 3 minus 6 is negative 9. 6 over negative 9. Yeah, I should get out of that screen first. 6 over negative 9 simplifies to negative 2/3. And just to reinforce, just like our distance formula, it didn't matter which point you chose to be the first and which was the second. It doesn't matter here, you just have to be consistent. Okay, see if I changed it around, if instead of 8 minus 2, I took 2 minus 8, I would have to take 6 minus negative 3. I would still end up getting the exact same slope. So just stay consistent. And that, if this button works, it didn't work. Nevertheless, that is the end. Adios.